Good morning, everybody, and welcome to one of the fastest growing regions in our province and the future site of the Bradford Bypass. I'm Rob Keffer, Mayor of the town of Bradford, West Gwillimbury, and I would like to extend a warm welcome to our Premier, the Honourable Doug Ford, for being here this morning, and to our Minister of Transportation and Francophone Affairs, the Honourable Caroline Mulroney. Thank you all for being here today. Today I'm joined by our Mayor-elect, James the Duke, Deputy Mayor-elect, Raj Sandhu, Councillors Scott, Lamb, Orr, Faragini, Contois, and Dykey, and our new councillors-elect who are here as well. So thank you, Council, for being here. This is a project that has been long waited for and is wanted by everybody in our council chambers. Also, I'd like to welcome Mayor Lynn Dolan of Innisfil, who's here representing the County of Simcoe, and Lynn is the Deputy Warden of the County of Simcoe. I'm a longtime resident of Bradford, West Gwillimbury, and like many of our citizens, have experienced the traffic congestion around our core urban settlement areas. The fact is, our municipality is growing at an extraordinary rate, and we require infrastructure to support this growth. This bypass is a crucial piece of infrastructure for Bradford, West Gwillimbury. Increasing travel options, improving the movement of goods, which is essential for our businesses and agriculture, and ensuring our residents can spend less time on the road and more time with their families is so important. I share in the excitement of our residents and neighbours to see the Bradford Bypass move forward into the next phase. So now I'd like to introduce and invite our Minister of Transportation and Francophone Affairs, the Honourable Caroline Mulroney, to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Keffer. Good morning, everyone. What a pleasure it is to be here in Bradford today alongside Premier Ford, Mayor Keffer, and so many other friends and colleagues. Gridlock is a problem that continues to cripple drivers across Ontario. And it doesn't just hurt people's quality of life. It hurts our economy too. If our transport trucks are trapped in gridlock, this prevents goods from getting to market quickly, and it stops us from realizing Ontario's full potential. For decades, businesses, farmers, and residents across York Region and Simcoe County have called on their government to build the Bradford Bypass. And even as these calls intensified over the years, successive Liberal governments still refuse to listen. Gridlock is not just going to disappear, and neither is commercial traffic. So I couldn't be more pleased that under Premier Ford's leadership, our government is finally answering the call. In the spring, we were here in Bradford to announce a critical milestone for early works construction of the Bradford Bypass. And now today, we're back to show the people of York Simcoe that we are getting it done. We know that there is an urgent need to get the Bradford Bypass and other critical infrastructure projects built. That's why, over the next decade, our government is investing a historic $86.6 billion into roads, highways, and public transit across Ontario. This includes the Bradford Bypass, and I am so proud that we are moving full steam ahead on this project. Before I turn it over to Premier Ford, I want to take a moment to recognize Simcoe County, who also joined us here today with Mayor Lynn Dolan. Without the hard work and coordination that has been ongoing between the county and our government, this announcement wouldn't be possible. So on behalf of the residents of York Simcoe, thank you for the work that you're doing. And with that, I'll pass it over to Premier Ford. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks to Minister Mulroney for that great introduction, and thanks to Mayor Keffer, thank you, and Mayor-elect Leduc. Along with Mayor Dolan, thank you. What a beautiful town Innisfil is, and you're doing great things over there. I always say to Mayor Dolan, my kids want to move to Innisfil, but I want to keep them closer to me. As well as the councillors and all the other dignitaries, everyone who is here alongside us to mark this milestone. When our government said we would reduce gridlock and connect communities here in the Golden Horseshoe, we meant it. In April, we awarded the contract to build the bridge over the Bradford bypass. And today, I'm thrilled to stand here with our partners to see construction start. Shovels are in the ground. We're getting it done for the GTA families. The bridge we're building here will be a critical part of the Bradford bypass, a brand new 4-lane freeway that will connect Highway 400 and Highway 404 in Simcoe County and York Region. And there is no time to waste when it comes to getting this built. Previous governments chose not to invest in the future of this region. They were fine with gridlock that kept getting worse and people spending countless hours sitting in their cars. Well, let me say clearly, those days are gone, they're done. Whether you're a commuter trying to get home to the family or a trucker trying to get goods to market, the Bradford bypass will be a game changer for the people of the GTA. It will support more than 2,600 jobs per year and will generate more than $274 million for the local economy. Our government is investing $86.6 billion over the next decade to build transportation infrastructure right across Ontario. That includes not only the Bradford bypass, but also Highway 413, because right now, over 300,000 commuters in York, Peel, and Halton regions endure gridlock every day of their lives. That's unacceptable. As Ontario's population continues to grow, we need to be ready. Our government is building Ontario with critical infrastructure projects just like the Bradford bypass, a project that communities here have been asking to be built for decades. Together with partners like the ones standing next to us, we're making incredible progress for the people of Ontario. But my friends, we can't take anything for granted. As we navigate global economic uncertainty, our government has been hard at work building an economy that can weather any storm. An economy that never loses sight of what's most important: helping people succeed, helping workers succeed. That starts with creating an economic conditions that attract investments and growth and good jobs. We've cut red tape to reduce the cost of doing business in Ontario by $7 billion annually. We've kept taxes for people and raise a family. Together with our partners, we're building Ontario. Together, we're getting it done. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. I look forward to taking questions. Thank you.
Okay, we'll now take questions. There's one question. Hi, Premier.
Hi.
Can't see you very well, but
I can't see you either. I'll look at the camera and you ask me the question.
QP has said that they will not accept a two-tier wage increase. Is there any wiggle room for the government on that point?
Well, the mediators asked me not to talk about it, but what I'll say is, and we've said from day one, we're going to focus on the low-paid workers. That's our goal. That's what we're hearing out there. You have to differentiate between someone that's making roughly about $40,000 a year versus someone that's making $100,000 a year. So I want to work collaboratively with QP and other partners to make sure we take care of the lowest paid people within QP.
And on another matter, there's increasing pressure in the medical community to reinstitute some sort of mask mandates, given what's happening in hospitals, and I think schools has been a focus.
Yeah.
Is that something the government would entertain?
I've always said from day one, I'll always listen to Dr. Moore's advice and the advice he's giving everyone, and I'll give them the same thing. You know, I'd wear a mask when you can, if you're, you're within risk, and get your flu shot. Get a vax shot too. I'm going to head out there and get my fourth one. I'm going to get a flu shot because I can't chance it. Old guys like me, I'm not chancing it. So we're gonna get a shot just to be safe.
Hey, good morning, Premier. Colin DeMiller from Global News.
Hi, Colin.
Just a question about the process about repealing Bill 28. QB says that the promise you had given them was to repeal it immediately, not next Monday. And they're saying essentially that you're not necessarily holding up your end of the bargain. They say kids are back in school, but you have yet to repeal Bill 28. My understanding is you don't necessarily need everyone in the legislature to do it if you have all-party support. So why not just recall the legislature today or tomorrow and repeal Bill 28 once and for all?
Well, thanks for the question, Colin. We said we'd do it as soon as possible, and we're going to get it done. We're going to do it. We're keeping our word. We're going to do it, and hopefully they'll maybe they should put a little water in their wine, as I say, like I did. You got to give and take in negotiations. You can't be hardcore. You can't be running out there and spiking the football and doing cartwheels. We aren't doing that. We just want the kids in class. That's my number one focus, making sure we're there for the kids, we're there for the parents, and we're there for the workers as well. And also, we're there for the employers. So we just want to get this thing done, but we got to be fair. And, we got to look at the whole province. This is a very small part, the 50,000 workers. There's 15 million people in here that are paying the wages of myself and the other Ontario workers. So you got to be fair. That's what I'm saying. I'll be fair. Hopefully they'll be fair as well.
Okay, you brought up football, so I wanted to ask you about actual football, soccer. I wanted to ask about FIFA World Cup.
Sure.
The city of Toronto is waiting on the province for the financial commitment on hosting FIFA World Cup. Time is obviously running out, and the bills are skyrocketing. So is the government committing to actually putting forward the dollars that the city of Toronto is requesting so that they can host the FIFA World Cup?
Yeah, another great question, Colin. Thanks for that. I had a great meeting the other day with Mayor Tory, discussed a wide range of items. One of them was FIFA. We haven't made a decision. I don't think the federal government's made a decision. But with all this, no matter if it was the Pan Am Games or FIFA, and you nailed it. Like every day, this cost keeps going up and up and up. And I'm a big soccer fan. I love soccer, but let's take a look at it. We'll look at the finances and hopefully we'll be able to come up with an answer sooner than later. I understand the clock is ticking there.
Good morning, Premier. Megan Fitzpatrick from CBC News.
Hi, Megan.
Hi. You were talking in your remarks there about attracting jobs to Ontario, but I wanted to ask you about job cuts that were announced today by Meta, aka Facebook. Back in March, you were part of an announcement about attracting 2,500 jobs to Toronto for an engineering hub.
Sure.
For Meta, given the news today that they're laying off 11,000 people globally, do you have any idea what that might mean for the jobs in Toronto and whether that engineering hub will go ahead?
Yeah, I remember that announcement, and I think they're going to continue. Myself, they're going to continue to grow. I know they announced that 11,000 worldwide. They haven't given me numbers if it affects Ontario, but the tech sector here is second to none. We're seeing jobs come in by the droves every single day because we've created a climate and the conditions for companies to come here and thrive and prosper and grow. And two big sectors, obviously the automotive sector, we see growing, but we also see the tech sector. They were giving me an update the other day that we're right behind Silicon Valley, and we're catching them every day because the students that graduate, some of the brightest students in the world, used to go over to Silicon Valley. They aren't doing it now. They're staying here in Ontario. We're seeing massive investments by other companies, startup companies as well. So we're just going to make sure that we're going to be competitive because we're in a global economy. If we aren't competitive, they're going to the U.S., they're going over to Europe, over to Asia, down to Mexico. But right now, the climate's extremely, extremely good to invest here in Ontario.
And just on another topic, I wanted to ask you about the Emergencies Act inquiry in Ottawa. Your name keeps coming up a lot there. Yesterday, we got a transcript of a call between you and the Prime Minister with some colorful language in it. I just want to ask you about your refusal to testify there. I know how you're saying it's a federal decision into a federal act. But obviously the events happened in the province of Ontario, and you were the Premier of the province of Ontario, and your government did respond. You were making decisions. And the Commission has said to fully understand what was going on, what led to the federal decision, they need to understand more about your decisions as the Premier. And they have said that, the documents that you provided so far and the deputy ministers who they've interviewed don't have the answers. Only you do. And they asked you for an hour of your time a few months ago to talk to them in private, not even testify, just an hour of your time. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do everything possible to help the Commission get the answers they need? Despite it being a federal decision, you're the Premier of Ontario, you're involved in it, why not give them an hour of your time?
Well, thanks for the question. Again, I'm going to repeat what I've said, and I know you mentioned it's a federal inquiry. It was the federal government making that decision. As you saw, I wasn't forcing them to make any of those decisions. And it's a police operation. I think you saw in the transcript, it was colorful language. But at the end of the day, I think I said it 3 or 4 times that I do not direct the police, no matter if it's the OPP or the Ottawa Police or the Toronto Police. And that was the police operations. They did a great job, and they're gonna continue the inquiry. I got to be careful because there is an inquiry going on, and I just left it up to the police to follow up with the police operations. We had the commissioner go and testify, and we had the deputy ministers go and testify. So that's where we're at right now.
Hi, Premier Jeff Gray from the Globe. I can't ask you about your tie today.
I know. I got more comments about that tie than I've ever had on any tie.
I wanted to ask you about the change in tone from last week to this week and what happened over the weekend. We understand you did speak, and you mentioned this, you referenced this. Some of these private sector unions that you've been talking to about various issues over the past years, Unifor, Leuna, some other ones, you spoke to them on the weekend. I take it there were conversations. They opposed the use of the Section 33 very strongly. Can you give us a sense of, is that what changed your mind, the concerns they raised with you over the weekend, that you said, well, let's tap the brakes here?
No, it really wasn't. I just want to come with a consensus. And when conversations get heated on both sides, someone has to come in there and cool the temperatures. And as for the trade sector, I think the world of. Matter of fact, I think Leona's here somewhere. Again, I've always said 98% of the time we'll agree. There's odd things that two parties may not agree on, but we're looking forward to working with our trades. This is one example where we're going to have great tradespeople building the bridge. We're going to be building the Bradford bypass and Highway 413, and that's what it really came down to. I had to cool down the temperature, and really it all came down to getting the kids back in class. QP. They were saying they're just going on strike no matter what we were offering. So unfortunately, that's where we're at the time. Now we move forward, and the kids are back in school. And that's what I care about, to make sure the kids are in there learning. They've went through a lot of challenges over the 2.5 years, and I know that's what the parents want, the grandparents, employers, the whole shebang. Just want the kids in class. So let's negotiate fairly, and. That's where we'll be.
Well, what would you say to the critics who would say that a government that would use Section 33 on a Thursday, and then such a drastic step that constitutional experts and so on have raised so many concerns about, and then just a few days later say, by the way, also said they had no option. It turns out you had an option, sir, to quote former Prime Minister. To change a course like that so quickly over just a few days, people would say this shows the government's incompetent. You don't know what you're doing.
Well, something, I think we've done one heck of a job, and I think the people answered that on the last election, giving us a clear mandate. But let's back up a little bit. We didn't even mention Section 33. I didn't want to use Section 33, but when you have the union sitting there telling you that they're going on strike, before I even mentioned it, they're going on strike, no matter what it is, then you have no option but to sit back and utilize the tool. But do you know what's even worse than Section 33? Is threatening to go on strike, shut down the economy of Ontario, keep parents at home, keep the kids at home, keep the grandparents as they're getting unloaded at the grandparents' house. That's so much more dangerous than Section 33. That was the only tool that we had. you know, everyone through negotiations, if I can use this language, came to their senses, both parties, and said, okay, let's get back to the table. That's what people want. People do not want the workers on strike when it comes to education. And it goes all the way back, and well before me, it goes back to Bill Davis's days. Every single government, no matter it was PC, no matter it was NDP, no matter it was Liberal or new PC governments, they fight with every single government. There's something common about that. So let's stop fighting. Let's get the kids in school. Let's get the kids learning. We saw the test scores. The whole province saw the test scores. They were a disaster. We need to get the kids back in school learning. Let's focus on the science, technology, engineering, and math. That's what parents want, because those kids are the future of Ontario. They're the ones that are going to be standing up here one day. They're the entrepreneurs that are going to be creating jobs, but we need them in class to learn. Simple as that.
Good morning, Nick Westall from City TV. This
Nick.
question's actually for Minister Mulroney, if you don't
Okay,
mind.
yeah.
Minister, good morning to you. I spent yesterday and this morning speaking with residents and businesses along Eglinton Avenue. They shared your frustration that you shared last month about the delays with the crosstown. They said they've been waiting for information about business supports. They've pleaded their case. They're heading into holiday season. There's active construction on many parts of the line. Major concern from their end. So my question to you would be this, is there's been reports that the opening is going to be sometime at the end of 2023. What's the new target opening date, and where specifically are the biggest issues with this project right now?
Well, I share their frustrations, all of us do, of the people and who live along the corridor and the businesses that are there. That's why we have provided financial support in the past. But as you know, this is a project that we inherited from the Liberals, and it was mismanaged right from the start. As we're moving forward with our transit expansion across Ontario, we're doing things differently. We know that we can't do things the way the Liberals did it. That's why we introduced the Building Transit Faster Act, so that we can deliver our priority projects much more quickly without those kinds of delays that we're seeing along the Eglinton Crosstown.
Okay, and this one's actually for both yourself and Premier Ford. This was with respect to ATU negotiations. How involved have you and your staffs been with bargaining, and how can you intervene to get both sides back to the table?
Well, as you know, or maybe you don't know, Metrolinx has been negotiating with the ATU since April. Unfortunately, they voted in favor of going out on strike this week. We want to make sure that that Metrolinx is able to reach an agreement soon with the ATU so that we can get transit riders riding GO buses again. When they do get back together, it'll be the 21st bargaining session, and so we're going to continue to work we're going to support Metrolinx as they continue to work to get a good deal with the ATU. And I'll pass it over.
To follow up on Minister Mulroney's comments, honestly, I haven't been involved at all. I have my hands full with CUPE. I have all the confidence in the world in Minister Mulroney and the CEO, Phil Verster. And hopefully they can come to the table and come up with a compromise. That's the best way to resolve it.
This will be the last question.
Yep.
Hi, Premier Ford. Rob Paul from Bradford today.
Rob?
In specifically, is there a firm timeline for the Bypasses Bridge project, and is there a specific date it's expected to be completed?
Yeah, I'm going to pass that over to Minister Mulroney. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so this project should be completed by 2024. But as you know, people in Bradford and across Simcoe County and York Region have been waiting for any kind of progress, and that's why I'm so thrilled that the Premier and everyone is here today to mark the official start of construction on the bypass.
And to follow that up, is with environmental groups continuing to voice their concerns with the bypass, how is the government ensuring minimal environmental impacts with building this bridge specifically?
Thank you. As you know, the Bradford bypass underwent a full Class EA, Class A environmental assessment. But when we were elected, since that time, we know that there are a lot of new environmental rules and regulations. So we're updating the environmental assessment process. There are over a dozen studies that are being done now. We're going to wait for those to be completed before we move ahead with the full construction of the project.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, everyone.